Hey y'all, today we have a Daiwa BG13. The customer was requesting a new drag knob, but what we can clearly see here is that the stud or the shaft, I think it's called a spool metal, on the shaft is broken off at the tip. He wants a new drag. We can get a new drag as well, or we have a new drag as well, so that's fine. But we need to remove this to replace this because this is not functional. Anyhow, so kind of let's go through what I do with these reels when I get them in. This one I already checked and made notes on, so basically I do a kind of a walkthrough as to what feels right, what seems suspicious, things like that. So I'll crank this reel. Hear the noise. Based on these reels, I know that's probably coming from the pinion bearing. Doesn't mean it's bad, it just means it's a little loud, so it just may need to be oiled or whatever. Obviously saw that, and where else was I? Sorry, I was looking at something, I apologize. Anyhow, so the next step is I check the bail. That feels sluggish to me there, but it works. Then I try the bail flip. That doesn't work. But if I do it hard, I just can't get it to flip over. So there's some resistance there, so we're gonna open this all up as well, see what's going on inside there. I know the spring is good, or the spring should be fine, but we'll still double check it just to make sure. I don't think it's a resistance coming from a weak spring. I think it's more just resistance from buildup on these points here. Then we check the line roller. On this one, it's kind of tricky because there's just a line roller on the metal. There's not a bushing or anything in there, so I'm probably going to take this apart, clean inside there out, and put it back on. If it works, well, great. If it doesn't work, well, then it's just there. It's not a whole lot I can do for that. Anyhow, that's basically kind of how I do a walkthrough on a reel, just to get a sense for what's going on with it. So let's jump right into it then. I'm going to take this handle off and then open this up. I'm going to take this spool off. And like that. I'm going to loosen some of these screws, and while I loosen the screws, I'm going to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button if you like the content that I put out, and that thumbs up or that like button as well. That's always helpful, and be sure to tell your friends about the channel. Alright, so to remove the shaft, all I have to do is pull up on this, like so. I can take that bearing off. There's a washer or two washers under there. I don't think I've ever seen three, but there's some washers under there as well. Alright, so we can just loosen that screw there. And as normal, these screws are a lot of times are loose, and I had one the other day where the screw got so loose that it jammed into the main gear and damaged it, so it had to be replaced. So let's start with the shaft. So how do we get this off so we can put a new one on? There's two clips on here. You just have to push off. There's one, and two, and up it comes. Shaft is still good. The washer we're going to reuse. That's on top there. We're just going to get the new spool metal now and put that on, so we get that out of the way. Let me get this washer off of this. Alright, so now we can get our new spool metal. And this already comes with the leaves inside there. I forgot what they're called. We're just going to grease this up, and not that point, I apologize. I don't want to grease that at all. I'm going to grease around there, and just in this area as well. I'm also going to grease inside there where the shaft is going to go through and sit. Still going to grease this a little bit. We're just going to stick it on. Now if it didn't come with the, let me get that functioning properly, make sure those are in. If it didn't come with these leaves, you could certainly pop those back on. You can check my videos, or maybe I'll put a link up here somewhere, how to get those off and back on, if I can find it. And I'm going to add some oil to the top there. That should be good. Now I'm just going to check the bearing on top by opening this up. Now to get to the bearing, I have to remove all these pieces here. So pull this up, get this screw out of there, get this dog up, and now we got to remove these two screws to lift that bearing cover off and get the bearing out. Sometimes they do get stuck in there, and you have to get them out with a different method. So obviously we can see some rust build up on this bearing at the top there. We can also see some rust build up inside this house, or inside the cavity there. So we're going to clean that out. But the bearing itself, I don't have high hopes for, just based on seeing these things. You can get instances where the bearing sounds raspy or just kind of loud because it's dry, and you just need to oil it and it should be fine. Whenever I start to see rust around these things, I get a little concerned because potentially that rust is inside on the balls as well, inside the bearing. So let's just double check it and see. Doesn't really sound terrible. So we're going to add some oil to it and see if that helps it at all. I don't like the sound of it. I pulled one out here that's, I think, is the right size. I didn't measure it. Kind of eyed it, pulled it from a lot that yeah, that looks right. This is an older bearing or a used bearing, but it's a good bearing. Better than that one. Yeah, that one sounds pretty good. Yeah, that one sounds a lot better. So we're going to use that bearing instead. Alright, so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to pause the camera and clean up inside here, put these things back together. If you want to see how to break down a reel similar to this, I think I have a 20 up completely, then I'll put a link up here there as to how to do that. Then I'm going to come back to you and show you the rotor, a couple things on the handle, like some tricks or tips to make the handle work properly or better. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Sorry, one thing I forgot to mention is I think the reason the ramp is not working properly is because there's a lot of sticky stuff on here, so it's really dry. It's catching the trip arm under there, and it's just kind of getting it stuck. And this is kind of a flexy kind of thing to begin with. So we're going to clean that up as well, and obviously work on the rotor. All right, I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, we're back. So let's go ahead and work on this, on the rotor, the bail specifically on this. Let's see, as you can see, it still kind of works. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the spring. We're going to loosen all these screws up so I can get them undone. That one for the line roller is usually the scariest one. And these two on the bail, for the bail wire. Alright, so I'm just going to take everything off. This is the meat and potato part of the bail. I'm not going to show you how to put this back on. I think I have a video somewhere that already shows you how to do that. All we're trying to do is figure out why this could be sluggish. I mean, I think we can kind of see why already. A lot of this stuff is just all dried stuff. So just need to clean this stuff up and then double check it to make sure it's working fine. Yeah, that's what it really looks like. I mean, this has a little bit of wear on it, but I still say it's usable. Yeah, so let's break down the line roller and see how that looks. That came off nicely, so I think we're good with that. A little bit of wear inside, on the inside of that washer. I'll clean inside there up. And a little bit of the same for inside there, but nothing terrible. These screws are all, I'm pretty sure they're all the same. Can't remember. They're all the same size. So if you get them mixed up, it's not that big of a deal. Alright, so I'm gonna clean this all up and then put it back together, and then we'll test it out and see if it works. noticed in the sped up version, and I haven't tightened all these things on yet, but in the sped up version that I was playing with the bale wire in terms of reforming it. The reason was because I put it back together and this was kind of tight, so this was having too much lateral force that way, so I just kind of pushed that in a little bit and it feels a lot better. When we put this together, it may not work entirely or as well as I wanted to. It feels like it should. Sorry about that, the camera died, or the battery died. And as I was saying, it may not work as I would like it to. It feels like it should, but if it doesn't, then I'll just undo these screws or this side and try some reforming there. So anyhow, we have a much better functioning bale than we did before, which is good. Last thing I'm going to show you is the handle. You hear that noise there? A lot of people tell you to oil here, which I do, but I also stick some oil down through there, quite a bit actually. Then I just work it in there and you get rid of that noise. People like to oil here and in that groove right there, but a lot of the noise that's coming from these handles, or the handle knobs, are usually inside on the shaft that the handle knob is sitting on. So you also have to oil through there to get that to run down and free up whatever is causing it. Alright, so I'm going to put this all back together. I am going to probably speed this version up as well, or just not even show it and just cut to the finished reel. Yeah, I'm going to do that instead, because I got to clean the spool up, and yeah, I'll do that. Alright, so I'll see you guys in a little bit with the finished product, and then we'll test it out and see if it works well, and if not, we'll make some adjustments as we go. Okay, so put it back together, and now we're just going to test out. My main concern is really the bale, because everything else was working fine. Put a new drag knob on top, and the bale works nice. Yeah, works nice. Alright, so I hope that helps some of you guys out there. Again, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like or that thumbs up button, and be sure to let your friends know about the channel. Alright guys, I will see you next time.